Hey guys, it's Adari Bros here. Today we are looking at the Broadway Limited Imports New York Central Niagara class locomotive. These are 484s, and Broadway Limited, obviously, as we know, they do a great job on locomotives. And this one is just like all those other locomotives. All the detailing is separately applied. It rolls great. It runs great. It has okay cab detailing. It has a real coal load. Basic stuff. The history of the Niagara class locomotive is that in 1945, the New York Central wanted new steam locomotives, and the J3A Super Hudson was not able to. With the high demand, it was not able to do what they wanted. So they ordered these locomotives. They ordered one, a prototype, in 1945. That prototype, they didn't even receive the prototype, and they had already ordered 25 more. This locomotive they knew would be a success, and a success it was. It could go 60 to 85 miles per hour. It had large drivers, and a lot of people say it's based off of the FEF class of the Union Pacific, which is slightly true. It's basically, a lot of people have considered it to be the best 484 ever built. Even better than the Norfolk and Western J, which is, that might be a little stretch. But this has larger drivers than the J, has more power, I believe better tractive effort, and it was all around one of the best 484s ever built. These were in service 6 days a week. On the 7th day, a couple of them were cooled, and people with asbestos suits would actually go into the boiler and do cleaning. These were never shut down. Model 60, engine number 6015 is significant because it made the last run on steam on the New York Central Railroad in 1956. And most others had been retired by then. And that's why I bought 6015. Broadway Limited, on the model itself, Broadway Limited did a great job on making all the detail pop. It is mostly all separately applied. And the only thing that I dislike is really nothing. This one actually has different sound. It has the whistle, a pretty cool whistle, and some other details which I'll show you here. This tender is a PT4 style tender. It was a large tender with a huge coal bunker. And I really like it. It's a centipede tender. It has the lead truck and the 10 trucks under it to support the weight, and to reduce it in, I don't know, whatever, make it more spread out. From this angle you can see, again, this locomotive is beautiful, and the distinct smoke lifters, elephant ears as most people call them, are correctly modeled for this number. On the bottom of the locomotive, you can see how this locomotive is put together. It has 8-wheel pickup, 3 up here and 5 back there. Now, a lot of people ask why this locomotive has such a large boiler and there's no steam dome, and it has such a small stack. Well, the New York Central only had 15-foot 2-inch clearances on the tunnels, and standards were supposed to be 16-foot 2 inches. And on the East Coast, New York Central lines, it wasn't always. So they designed this locomotive short, and in fact, one of the coolest things is the sand compartment, the sand hatches, that was recessed into the boiler. The boiler is large, and there's no steam dome because of the way they were designed. I can't exactly tell you. If you look it up, you can find out yourself, but they don't have steam domes. which it's one of the few locomotives like that. You can actually see the horn here. The horn was better at cutting through fog than the whistle. So the horn would be used in some cases, and I'll show you guys the horn sound that Broadway Limited provided. It's actually a very nice sound. The bell is right behind the right cylinder on the engineer's side, and all the wheels are beautifully done, and it's a very cool engine. I really think it's cool. Now the reason I got this, and I'm showing it to you guys, this was actually my first steam locomotive. Not this model, I had a Bachmann one, but the Bachmann one got me into steam. And when this was released many years ago, I always wanted it, and I just never bought one just cause. And I finally decided to get one, and boy was it worth it. This is far superior to the Bachmann model. And again, there's that great centipede tender, which was mostly used on other railroads, especially if you think of the Union Pacific, the FEFs, and the big boys and Challengers. The trailing truck actually had a booster on it to provide extra horsepower at low speeds and pulling power. Well, anyway, I hope you guys got a general sense of the look of the locomotive. It really looks good. And overall review of the locomotive itself, I'd give it a 10 out of 10 because it runs great. You're going to see how it sounds great, and it looks great. All the detailing is there. So let's get this thing running, and I'll show you guys what to expect if you buy one. So one thing I just want to show you guys quickly, like I like to do, is show you guys how quiet it is and how smooth it runs. So I'm going to run it into the camera with the sound off. If you notice, just there's nothing that is kinking or whatever, I can't think of the word. It's just smooth. It's silent. And it's a beautiful model. Now I'm sure many of you are actually asking, how do I get to the horn? Or how would I if you buy one? Well, let me cut the scene here and I'll show you. So I'm sure many of you are asking how you get from the whistle to the horn. Well, basically, all you do is you click function 22, and to get to that, there are videos about it from either Digitrax DT402s or NCE cabs, or really anything else. You just go to function 22, whatever that may be, you click it, and you got the horn. To go back, you go to function 22 again, and you blow the whistle. Now one thing I don't think I've shown you guys is the bell. I really like that bell because the locomotive obviously didn't have a pull bell. If you looked at the, if you guys go back and you look at when I turn on the engineer's side, the bell's sitting down. It's not a pull bell. It's a mechanical bell or something. And it really sounds good when the engine is in operation. This locomotive retails for $400, but you can have them for around $220, $240 in some cases. In some cases, $220. I would recommend go to my favorite hobby shop, Making Tracks. His website's down in the description. He's not paying for this or anything. I paid for this engine, but he's a great guy. His name's Scott and their name's Scott and Mike. Scott is now the Great Scale Mile Train Show organizer. He runs the show. They bought the show off of Howard Zane because they're great guys, and Howard saw that in them and he let them have the show. It's a great show. Any dealers out there, or whatever you are, manufacturers too, he would love to have you at the show. And I'd love to see you at the show, whoever you are. But this locomotive is worth the money. It runs spectacularly. The sound is different for once, which I'm very happy about. And it's a really fun to operate engine. Plus, if you're not a New York Central guy, or you know someone that's not a New York Central guy and they come over and see this, they're going to ask where the steam dome is if they don't know what it is, why it's like that. They're going to ask why there's a horn and everything, and it's a very cool engine to discuss because there's not many engines like this on the East Coast. There's not even many engines that don't have steam domes. But there are quite a few with the centipede tenders, but this one is special. It really is a cool engine. Everything down to the bracing behind the elephant ears is in the model. So if you are a New York Central guy, even if you're not, this is an engine for you. Also the New York Central, obviously everybody knows Lionel did a ton of New York Central stuff. And that's part of the reason I also like the New York Central. I have a couple that I really enjoy, and I also have the 5344 Hudson, the J1E, which is the most famous one Lionel ever produced, the 700E Hudson. But anyway, enough about that. Basically, I'm saying buy the engine if you're a New York Central guy. If you're not, if you like the look of it, buy it. That's what I think about it. I don't care if it's prototypically accurate on the Pennsylvania Railroad. I really don't care. Anyway, I hope to see you guys in a future review. Please like, subscribe, and comment. And see you soon.